It was just how the football was played. They said, for example, you have to take more yellow cards. And then he said, yeah, they don't want you anymore because you made that mistake. There was no really point of arguing. I just said, okay, fix out the details and what can I do, you know what I mean?
Okay, hello guys, welcome back to What's Next Season 3 Episode 2. Today's special guest and friend, of course, Brwa Nouri. He's here in Bali, but of course, like I said in the beginning, I would like to invite inspirational people. And Brwa inspired me not only on the field, he's an amazing athlete as well and worked his ass off the field. But for me, it's a guy I look up to because he always speaks his mind, says the truth, never back down, and is just straight to the point and is always honest. And I think in these times it's not always that easy to speak freely what you think, and I have the feeling it's something you do. You don't care what people think of you, you just say what you think and fight what you are willing to fighting for. That is something that inspires me, so thank you, Nouri, to be here. Let's start. And I think for me always the most important question is, and I think that's how the way we have to start is, how are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm still adjusting to life without Bali, even though it's been 1.5 years. It was quite actually traumatic to leave Bali in those circumstances, but it could be worse. Children are happy, healthy, wife is happy, healthy, I'm happy and healthy, so you need to know what's important.
That's nice to hear. We will come back to that part later on. But of course we know you, especially the people here in Bali, we know you as Nouri, the football player. I want to ask all the guests I have in this show, but who is Nouri?
Who is Nouri?
You like to be called Nouri or Brwa?
I've been called only Nouri in Bali. Since the first day in Bali, I was Nouri. In Sweden, it's Brwa. Yeah, so I don't know, it was easier maybe for the people here to call me Nouri. But who am I? I'm a 37-year-old football player who playing football. I would see myself as a football player first, but then I became a father, and now I'm a father. I give everything to be a present dad. I think that's what I am. If you look at my Instagram profile, I say I'm father of Amin and Noah, so maybe that's what I am at the moment.
Where are you from? You're Swedish, Kurdish, or you're...
My mother and my father, they're Kurdish, born in northern Iraq. So I'm Kurdish. I would say I feel Kurdish. Although I'm born in Iran, moved to Sweden and lived there all my life almost. So yeah, Kurdish, but with a bit of Swedish.
Okay, because I think it's an interesting story because it's a mix all over. Your parents are from Iraq, born in Iran, but grew up in Sweden. How old were you when you moved to Sweden?
I was 1. So my father and my mother, they ran away in Iraq from the war, from the regime of Saddam. I was on the run when my mother was pregnant. I was born in Iran. I spent like 2-3 months in Iran, then it was Syria, then it was Jordan, then it was Greece, and then it was all through Europe, and then coming to Sweden. Yeah, so then we lived in Sweden until I came to Bali almost.
How is it to be in Sweden and to grow up in Sweden as a boy of color? Because in my experience in Holland, even though I'm half Dutch, born and raised in Holland, you always feel different. How was that situation in Sweden?
For sure, it's the same. Where it's different because you don't ask a white person where you're from. That's not a bad question. Maybe they just want to know you, but then you automatically inside of you feel like, okay, I'm different.
Yeah. You
get that confirmation that you're not like everybody else. It was not the easiest thing, but I'm still thankful that I got the opportunity to live in a good country where I can grow up and be safe. But when it comes to individual things, being of color in a white country is not the easiest thing. But I learned a lot.
Yeah, like you said, I think the most common question is where you're from. I'm from Holland, or I'm from Sweden. No, where you're really from.
And the interesting thing is, when I'm in Bali, people say where you're from. I'll say I'm from Sweden. I don't say Kurdish. But when I'm in Sweden, I will never say I'm Swedish because I'm not Swedish. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Even it's not only in Bali. If I go on vacation to Spain or whatever, where you're from, I'm Swedish.
So, like I said, is this part of growing up in Sweden as a boy of color, is that somewhat formed you in the way like the person you are now? Like when I introduced you, you're always the one who speaks his mind, who speaks the truth and is not afraid to tell the truth? Is that because you think of the youth you had in Sweden, or where does this come from?
Maybe. I don't think that's only that. Probably, you know, you need to be strong. You need to be mentally strong, and maybe it's because of the heritage and being grown up in Sweden, because you have to fight for who you are. But also I think football helped me a lot, because I had something that I was proud of, that I knew I can do. But yeah, probably I think that made me strong mentally, because I had to be me. My parents didn't run to another country for me to become Swedish. They ran to another country for me so I could be me, you know? That's the whole thing. But in Sweden, or I think maybe in Holland as well, you have to adapt, you have to do this. Of course you have to adapt. But we didn't run there to be Swedish.
Yeah.
We run there so we can be, you know...
Safe.
Exactly.
Is there someone who inspired you to become like this, or is it from your mom or your parents who taught you this?
Me and my mom, when we came to Sweden, my mom and my father, they divorced. So me and my mom, we moved to the capital of Sweden when I was 4, so we were all alone. And I see how hard she worked. You know, she was 19 when she had me, 20 when she came to Sweden. She left 9 brothers, 2 sisters. Imagine 20 years old, moving, because you have to run away, you know. She didn't speak the language, no work, she had a baby, and all these things. And I remember how I see her working hard and being brave, even though I know, you know, because I see in her eyes that things were, you know, it was hard, it was tough. So, but it's not like she said, you have to be strong, my kid, you have to be this, you have to be this. She was just strong, and she just carried on, you know. And I think people, they do as what they see, not as much as they've been told, you know.
Definitely.
So, for example, when I said who am I? I'm a father. I don't want to say to my kids too much, even though you have to. You know, if it's hot, don't touch it. But they will see how much you work. They will see how much you are nice to people and stuff like this. So perhaps, or probably, hopefully, they will become the same. So I think that's the most inspiring thing from my mom, that, you know, it was hard for her, but what could she do?
So nowadays, we talked about it when you came to visit, and we had some time together. About Sweden, how is it to be in Sweden at the moment?
So different. When I was growing up in Sweden, when I was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, it was a lot of racism. But then slowly it faded away, you know. It became more open, it became good, I don't know. It was better. Then I left for Bali 2018, and then when I came back, it's such a different vibe. Politics, it's crazy. It's the right wing is winning everything, and there's a lot of right wing voices in politics, and on the streets it's a war going on at the moment. It's been like that since forever, almost. You know, gang members, they kill each other, they kill relatives. I don't think it's a safe or a good place to be now. Sweden is not the same as it was before. And we don't really feel like, you know, it's home, but it's not home.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
So what is home?
That's the question. Like we said in the beginning, I'm born in Iran, I'm Kurdish heritage, moved to Sweden.
Did Bali feel like home?
Bali's, yeah. Me now, when my wife and here are here, that's what we say, it feels like home. It feels really like home. Here you can be you, and you don't worry about, I don't know, it's the vibe, it's the atmosphere, it's the gods, it's something. It's
yeah, it's funny because the next question on the list was actually, do you miss Bali? But I think his answer we already have. Yeah, you definitely miss Bali, but what is that then about Bali? What do you miss? What is it what you get here in Bali? Yeah, makes the people stay.
It's so much. But one of the things is, like, for example, when I lived there, I was here for 5 years. I didn't have shoes one time. For me, this is amazing because in Sweden, it's so cold. It's so cold, you know. Yeah. But even now in November, before we went, because we live so close to the store, and I don't want to put my shoes, so I just put my slippers and then I go to the store. It's like, but it's freezing cold. But Dina, she's, what the fuck? What are you doing?
Bali.
Yeah, exactly. It's Bali. Yes, I just miss it. No, but the weather, of course, is nice. The people is amazing. Just the atmosphere and the vibe of the island, it's so good. You have the sun, you have the ocean, you have the food, you have the culture, you have all the different nationalities. Just, they all feel like they have left what we all want to leave in our countries because they're fed up with that, and then they come here and it's almost everybody's like-minded in some way. Yeah. You have, of course, bad people everywhere, but it feels like they just want to be happy and live. Where in Sweden, for example, it's a lot of, you know, it's 9 to 5, finish, go home, there's no social nothing, you know.
Yeah.
Here you go to a gym, immediately you're in a community, you know what I
Community
mean?
connect.
I can sit in a sauna in the gym here, and it's so nice conversations. In Sweden or Europe for that matter, I don't think it's the same, you know.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot
They
of
barely
stress.
say hello.
Exactly, it's a lot of stress. It's a lot of, yeah, I don't know. They focus on the wrong things, but because society is like that over there, and I always felt like I didn't belong to that society.
So you played in Sweden before you came to Bali. Did you ever went to Bali before on a holiday, or have you ever been in Southeast Asia?
Yes, I have. That's funny because I was a lot in Southeast Asia. I've been almost to almost every country.
That was during the national team or
No,
for
just,
holidays
yeah,
as
for
well?
holidays and national team. But then I remember I traveled alone to Thailand, and I was in Thailand, and I sat on the airport to Bangkok, and I said, I'm gonna go to Bali. I'm gonna go to Bali. This was like 2015 or something. And then I said I want to go to Bali, but then I look on the airport and it said Denpasar, and I was like, well, what is Denpasar? I didn't understand, and I realized Bali is huge. So for me to go, I wouldn't really expect to have so much fun, because I didn't really know anything about Bali. When I said I want to go to Bali, then I see Denpasar, I said, okay, what is Denpasar? I need to find out Denpasar, and then I see Kuta, then I see this, and then I said, this is too much information. I had only 2-3 hours to decide, so I went to Vietnam instead.
Football brought you here. Before you arrived, you did some research.
I had a game in Sweden Saturday. Sunday, there's an agent texting me, and that time it was so many agents texting because we had this Europa League thing in Sweden, and I turned down so many things, and then I was like, I'm gonna play these Europa League games and then things gonna come. But it didn't come. For like 3-4 months, nothing came. Only agents coming saying, can you give me mandate for this club, for this country, for this for this amount of time? And I said, okay, no problem. Then this guy on Instagram, he texted me saying, do you want to play in Indonesia? And I'm like, yeah, of course I want to, but I'm not gonna hear back from you anyway, so yeah. And then Sunday evening, he sent me a contract. And Dina, my wife, she wasn't there. And I look at the contract and the stamps and everything, you know, I'm like, hey, this is serious, this is like real, you know? So I texted my wife, she said, no, this is not real. And then I was like, I have never met this guy also, he's an agent, you know. I said, okay, but can we have a FaceTime meeting, you know, tomorrow? And he lives in Thailand, in Bangkok, so obviously time difference had a huge impact. So next day we called each other and he's like, yeah, this is valid, this is serious, Bali is really interested in you. If you want, then let's go. And I had 1.5 years left on my contract in Sweden, but I played there so long, so they said if you have something good, you can go. It's a clause. And yeah, this is Monday. Wednesday I'm in Singapore with Michael. With Michael, and I'm doing, you know, the visa, and then Thursday I'm seeing you for the first time.
That's
no,
crazy.
you were not there because you were in the national team, I think. No, you were in Holland because you were injured. I remember this. It was only
ankle.
Melvin and Nick was there.
Yeah.
So Wednesday in Singapore, Thursday training.
So there was barely even time to do some research, to check.
Nothing.
But you were not curious, like where I'm about to arrive? Maybe you come...
when I was on the airplane or airport in Thailand, I knew Bali as a you know, holiday destination. Of course I knew. I have friends who've been in Bali, say it's amazing and all these things, but I was lucky enough that it was Bali, you know. And then when I came, I just hit the jackpot. I just hit the jackpot. I was, you know, for the first 2 weeks here, I lived in the Santika Hotel. I didn't have a bike. I just walked all over Bali, I think, I swear. I went to
Sunset Road.
Everywhere. Yeah, I walked on Sunset Road, me and my agent, the first 2-3 days.
Did you had that same feeling coming out of the plane that you felt something different? Or did it took time? Did you needed to adapt, get to know the people before you fell in love with the island?
For the island, it was straight love. I remember, for example, I'm addicted to snus. You know? I'm addicted to snus. Snus is a tobacco thing that you have in Europe. And I forget this on the plane. So when I come to Bali, I didn't have that. But I didn't really care because I was so hyped about being in Bali, you know? So I just quit. But when it comes to adapting to the football and the culture of football, that was a big difference. That's a big difference. Because I already knew Southeast Asia, I already know the mentality. And I felt like home wherever I was in Southeast Asia, so that wasn't a problem. But being, you know, in the culture here with football, that was different because I thought my style or the Europe style was the answer. That's the way you should play football, you know.
So how was it when you arrived? You arrived at Bali United and you see like
Yeah,
things are different.
First I see the pitch, then I see the dressing room. I remember with
The first pitch was Trisakti?
Trisakti, yeah, and that timing was horrible. Now
it's good. Now it's amazing, but now before it was concrete.
It's crazy. It was so crazy, and I see the coach Widodo and Echo. He was there, and they were like in this. It was like a toilet. I swear, it was like a toilet. They were sitting, the coaches, you know. And I come from Sweden, where it's a facility and it's, you know, professional and everything in that way. I'm like, okay, I knew then that this is what it is. It's no problem, you know. But my style of playing is also like you need to pass the ball and move the ball and the touches and everything. So it didn't really help me. If I was a winger, they're just gonna dribble and do the crosses, then it would be different. But for me. Yeah, but that was not really the case, that the pitch was bad, or it was just how the football was played. It's so much back and forth, there's no control. It was hard time adjusting to this decision making of teammates and other teams, of the tactics of the coaches, you know. But I think you and me, we spoke about this a lot, you know. I had a hard time adapting because I thought that I need to come here and show these people how football is played, instead of realizing that I need to know where I am and adjusting to them and be good in what is good here, you know?
Yeah.
And that was actually Ruet, the kitman in Bali. He said, if you just play, he just said that after the game, if you just want to play fancy, they will kill you. And Jabes told me this before, Peter told me this before, Michael told me this before, the teammates told me this before. But it didn't really click. But when he said it, it clicked, and then it got better.
The magic of Ruet.
Yeah, Ruet. Yeah, the God.
Did it change you as a player? It obviously changed you as a player because you had to play a different way. But was it in a good way, in a bad way?
Yeah, no,
Did you feel like you could play in your full potential?
That's a good question. I felt like I was more. First, what they wanted me, for example, they wanted me to be tough. They wanted me to play hard. They said, for example, you have to take more yellow cards, you know? For me, that was so insane to hear that, you know? Take more yellow cards. That meant you need to play more tough, you need to play more rough. You need to show people that you really want this. Because you cannot only play football with the ball.
Yeah.
You know, you need to play football without the ball. And I realized that before, but when I came here, I really realized, okay, let's do the work, let's do what they want, and then you add your thing to it, you know? So first you work, and then you let the game come to you, and then you can play your football, and then it just went good. And I think when we won the champions the first time, I had like 12 yellow cards. I swear.
The most in your life?
Since I moved back from Bali, for 1.5 years, I haven't took it. I think I have 2. Now back in Sweden, you know?
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. So yeah, coming from Sweden, of course, you see the facilities, big shock, changing on the floor, not even having a bench, finish the training, hop on your bike and go home. How did it make you feel?
Uncomfortable, to be honest, because when you come to training, you want to ride the bike, you want to do your prehab, you know, and do these things. But you know, the dressing room in Trisakti, it was concrete, you know, you couldn't really lay down. And I see Melvin, he tried for the first 1, 2, 3 weeks, then it's like, oh, fuck this, man, I'm not gonna do this. And then after training, I wanted to shower, but there was, you know, it was this toilet water that they put on them, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I go to training, you know, wearing sandals and nothing, and then I go home all sweaty, and then I shower home. But it was only things that you're used to that you think you need, but you realize after 3, 4, 5 days that you don't need it. You don't really.
So you never had the feeling like, oh my God, where did I arrive?
No.
I want to go back.
No.
This is not football.
Yes, I think these things, but you know, I need to stay strong, because when you cross that barrier, I think things will come to you. You cannot just give up because you're out of your comfort zone. You're really out of your comfort zone, and all I've been taught in my life is that you really need to get out of your comfort zone. But when you're outside your comfort zone, then you think like, okay, no, this is not for me. But then I feel like that it's, I wouldn't say give up, but in a way it's kind of giving up, instead of, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna try, and let's see what happens.
So the club itself, with now making such a huge step, you were still there on the new facility as well?
Yeah. This is an amazing step. This is what you need to be professional. This is what you need to have, well, how do you call it? To have the right equipment to become good. But then again, like, let's say you have the amazing facilities, but then the club works in a wrong way. Then it doesn't matter how good the pitch is. It doesn't matter how good the facilities are, because, you know, you can I'm not saying Bali or Indonesia or whatever have bad coaches or bad whatever. I'm just saying if the facilities are good, then you need people that know what to do with it. You know
With
what
the
I mean?
facilities.
Yeah, exactly. How to train and stuff like this, you know. And I don't know because I haven't been there for a year and a half. But the last year, I felt like not only Bali but all the teams were leveling up. It was when the first 3-4 years here, it was only 4-3-3 everywhere. We didn't see 4-4-2, nothing. But then the last year, everybody played like 3-4-3, 3-5-2. You know, a step in a right direction. You know. And now when you see Indonesian national team, things are going good. This is amazing. This is the first step of being sustainably good.
So you arrive with bad conditions, you continue to amazing facilities, and then there's the end.
And there's the end.
What happened there? How did it go?
So it was abrupt. We had the AFC game. It was us against PSM. It like a pre-season, but because of COVID, I think it was one of us, the one who wins, will play AFC.
Yeah, I remember.
So we win those 2 games. It went really good, and then there was time for the league, you know. And I just signed. No, I didn't just sign. I had 2 years, and this was my last year. So the first game of the league comes. We play at home at Dipta against Sleman. The corner comes back to me. I'm the last guy, and I pay it back to the keeper. Comes too short. The guy takes it and he scores. And after the game, you know, when you make a mistake, you're really sad, you know. You know, you feel responsible, you know. But then the coach comes to you and said, no problem. We're just gonna go. It's the first game, blah, blah. Everything's okay, Monday, Tuesday. Come Wednesday training, I see, you know, a shift in the vibe, in the atmosphere before even the training starts. And then during training, I see I'm not in the lineup for the game against, you know, Borneo at Saturday. And I ask the coach, I'm like, I'm not included. They say, we will see because you were very bad last game, you know. And I'm like, okay, no problem. I have to work harder, you know. I made a mistake, things happen, you have to make choices. Thursday, Friday, I work hard. Come Saturday, comes the game, I'm on the bench. Sunday, I get a call from my agent. He said, okay, we need to speak. And then he said, yeah, they don't want you anymore because you made that mistake. When you hear that they don't want you because you made that mistake, you don't really go into argument. I just said, okay, like, what do you say? You try to convince them that give me another chance.
Yeah.
This is what do you I can do better. They know because I played with the same coach and the same team for 5 years. You know that I can play, and sometimes things happen, you know. So there was no really point of arguing. I just said, okay, fixed out the details, and what can I do? You know what I mean? But there was not a call from anybody saying goodbye, or you know, from management or.
Where do you think this comes from? Like, is because football for me is a sport. It's based on mistakes. It's a game of mistakes. The one who makes the least mistakes have the higher chance to win a game, and mistakes happen. But the beautiful thing of this game is that there's always the next game to perform better and win the game. But with one little thing, with 2 trophies already in your pocket with the club, where does this come from?
Yeah, I don't know. I have theories. I can't say I've thought about it a lot. I think about it, and then I have these theories of what is the reason. I don't know. Maybe it's because he just wanted another player. This was the perfect opportunity for him to say, okay, we need to go our separate ways. I think it could be handled better. You know, it was the first game of the season.
So will we ever see you come back to Bali? Maybe as a coach? Or just to live here?
Yeah, probably. First of all, my son is born here. We have investments in Bali. There's villas in Bali. I'm doing my coaching. I'm gonna do my coaching license in Sweden. So there's definitely plans and thinking about coming back to Bali and live here, because, like I say, now when we come back here, even though you know the first days you're so jet lagged, you don't really know what's up and down, but we still feel like home. Me and Dina, we say, yeah, we want to be here. But for sure, Bali's on the list of places to stay.
Yeah, because of course this episode and my Instagram is called What's Next, where I'm searching for me what is next. But yeah, you're now 37, still playing football. You're doing your coaching license. But for Brwa, what's next? You're 37. How long are you willing to play? Will you play until the body doesn't go, or are you playing until you feel tired of the game?
Yeah.
How long are you aiming to play?
Probably this. I think I will play until I don't think it's fun. where I don't feel like this is worth it. But right now I'm still like a kid on the pitch. I still think it's so fun, and my body is with me. You know, I haven't been injured, so I feel good. But the most important thing is I think I feel happy when I go to the pitch. I'm so, this the moment, you know, the focus, concentration, or you're in the zone, you know. And then everything comes back when you leave the pitch. But on the pitch, that's where I've been.
Have you already given a thought about what is next? What if I stop?
Probably it's gonna be coaching. I feel like I want to give back of things that I have been taught, and trying to help football players becoming as good as they can be. Because I think this is the only thing I know about in life. I think I can help.
Okay, so it's just a matter of time for you to return.
The clock is ticking.
And then we see you here in Bali. And don't forget, if you search for assistant coach, open solicitation right here. I think that's it for now. I think it's super nice to hear your story, especially where you are coming from. I think not a lot of people know this, and I think it's nice to share for the people here that football is not also only pink clouds and living the dream, and there are a lot of negatives and dirty things going on in this game, but the game is just too beautiful to stop. So yeah, I think this is it, and I want to thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you enjoyed it.
For sure.
And I hope to see you back very soon here in Bali. Thank you guys. This was What's Next, Season 3, Episode 2. Ciao.